Lakers News Fan Report brings you a detailed account of a defeat that shook the very foundations of the Los Angeles Lakers. On Monday night, the Los Angeles team faced the Brooklyn Nets, a team that, despite being in a rebuilding phase, surprised by defeating the Lakers 111-108. This loss, more than just a simple setback, brought to light critical issues that the team has been facing, especially with the absence of LeBron James and other key players, putting the Lakers in an increasingly vulnerable position for the season. The loss not only represents the second consecutive game without LeBron James, but also exposed some of the weaknesses the team has been trying to hide throughout the year. With James' injury to his groin, which occurred during the loss to the Boston Celtics, the Lakers lost their biggest star, someone whose influence on the court goes far beyond the numbers. His absence was deeply felt, both defensively and offensively. This, coupled with the absence of other important players such as Rui Hachimura and Jackson Hayes, made the task even more difficult for the Los Angeles team. The Lakers now find themselves in a delicate situation with a record of 42-23, placing the team just a few percentage points ahead of the Memphis Grizzlies 41-24, who sit in the fourth position in the West, and one game ahead of the Houston Rockets, with 42-25, currently in fifth place. These positions are far from secure, and the pressure for positive results intensifies with each game. The Lakers are in a real battle to stay among the top teams in the West, and with LeBron's absence, the team needs to show resilience and adaptability, something that has yet to be fully proven. To make matters worse, the Golden State Warriors, who seem to be in decline for much of the season, have resurged with strength following the acquisition of All-Star Jimmy Butler. With a record of 37-28, the Warriors are now only 4 games behind the Lakers, directly competing for the 6th spot in the conference. This puts even more pressure on the Los Angeles franchise, which urgently needs to regain its form if it wants to avoid a more significant drop in the rankings. The rise of the Warriors, who have won 5 consecutive games, only adds to the sense of urgency in Los Angeles, where every game has become a battle to maintain their position and defend their playoff aspirations. While the Lakers struggle to remain competitive, the Brooklyn Nets, on the other hand, celebrated an extremely important victory. Despite being in a rebuilding phase and holding a 22-42 record, the New York team managed to break a 7-game losing streak. The Nets, although still far from being a strong enough team to compete for high positions in the East, showed in this game that they are capable of exploiting the weaknesses of their opponent and capitalizing on opportunities. Even with low expectations for this season, the Nets proved they can surprise, showing that in basketball, anything can happen. The loss to Brooklyn cannot be solely attributed to LeBron James' absence. The Lakers, with all their strength and experience, were unable to impose themselves against a team that, although rebuilding, performed collectively well. The game was marked by execution errors and a lack of cohesion in the defensive system, factors that contributed to the loss of control of the game in the final moments. The Nets took advantage of the Lakers' lack of intensity, with players such as Noah Clowney and Cameron Johnson stepping up, scoring 19 and 18 points, respectively. Clowney's performance was especially important as he took on the responsibility of leading his team in a game that seemed destined for another loss. Keon Johnson, also with 18 points, was another key player contributing to the Nets' victory. In contrast, Luka Doncic, the Lakers star, did what he could to keep the team in the game. His triple-double of 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 12 assists was an individual display of class and talent, but he was unfortunately an island of brilliance in a sea of struggles. Doncic, who has been one of the most consistent stars in the NBA in recent years, once again showed why he is considered one of the best players in the league. However, his performance wasn't enough to prevent the negative outcome for Los Angeles, who struggled with the lack of support and consistency from his teammates. This raises the question, to what extent can the Lakers rely on a single star when facing a tide of injuries and team challenges? Lakers head coach J.J. Redick expressed his frustration with his players' performance following the loss. The coach, who has faced difficulties in his first season leading the team, was straightforward, saying the players tried to take shortcuts during the game instead of focusing on executing the necessary processes to win a high-level NBA game. His critique was clear. To win in the NBA, you need to do the hard work, not look for easy solutions. These words from Redick reflect the frustration he feels about his players' lack of discipline and the difficulties the Lakers have had in organizing themselves without LeBron James on the court. The lack of focus and commitment was evident, and Redick did not hesitate to place the responsibility on his players, stressing that the team needs to be more mature and focus on what really matters. In addition to the absences of James and Hayes, the Lakers also didn't have satisfactory performances from their reserve players. Gabe Vincent and Dalton Knecht had to fill in for the missing starters, but their contribution was limited, which only increased the pressure on the main players. Alex Len, in turn, had a disappointing performance as starting center, playing just 13 minutes and 19 seconds, which raised questions about the depth of the roster and the ability of the reserves to maintain the team's competitiveness. As the Lakers battle with inconsistency, the focus is turning to the younger players to see if they can rise to the occasion. Players like Austin Reeves, who has shown flashes of brilliance this season, must learn to take on more responsibility and lead the charge in games that matter most. The lack of support for Luka Doncic, who has stepped up admirably, has been a glaring issue. It's clear that the team cannot continue to rely on a single star to carry them to victory, especially when injuries plague the roster and the rest of the supporting cast struggles to find their rhythm. The coaching staff, under Redick, finds itself at a crossroads. Redick, who was brought in with high hopes, has been thrust into an incredibly difficult situation. His ability to adapt and find solutions in the face of adversity will be critical in determining how the Lakers finish the season. It's clear that Redick's frustration with the team's performance is shared by the fanbase. As the Lakers are underperforming, given their talent and the high expectations surrounding the franchise, the team's defensive lapses, inability to execute in crunch-time situations, and overall lack of cohesion have made it difficult for the Lakers to maintain their position in the standings. The Lakers' inability to execute their defensive game plan against the Brooklyn Nets is a prime example of the team's larger issues. The Lakers have long prided themselves on their defense, but the absence of key players like Hachimura Hayes has left gaps that other teams have been quick to exploit. The Nets, despite their rebuilding phase, were able to capitalize on these lapses and take control of the game in the final moments. This is an area where the Lakers will need to improve quickly, as they cannot afford to let games slip away due to defensive breakdowns. One of the most concerning aspects of the Lakers' current situation is the lack of depth on the bench. While the team has talented starters, the bench players have not been able to consistently provide the spark needed to sustain leads or maintain the level of play when the starters are off the court. Gabe Vincent and Dalton Knecht, who were called upon to fill in during injuries, have not performed up to expectations. With such a thin bench, the Lakers will need to find creative ways to get production from their reserves. If they want to remain competitive, the upcoming games will be crucial for the Lakers' playoff hopes. While their record of 42-23 still places them in a relatively strong position, the pressure is mounting. The team's margin for error is rapidly shrinking, and every game will have significant ramifications for their playoff seeding. With teams like the Memphis Grizzlies and Houston Rockets breathing down their necks, the Lakers cannot afford to slip further. The Lakers front office will also be keeping a close eye on the team's performance, and the possibility of making roster moves before the trade deadline to bolster the squad could become a reality. Despite these challenges, there is still reason to believe that the Lakers can turn things around. LeBron James' return is on the horizon, and his presence on the court could provide the much-needed boost for the team. However, it's not just about his return, it's about how the Lakers approach the remaining games. Will they continue to rely on individual performances, or will they find a way to play as a cohesive unit? These are questions that remain to be answered, and the answers will ultimately determine their playoff fate. As the team looks ahead, they will need to find ways to combat the rise of the Golden State Warriors, who have regained momentum with the acquisition of Jimmy Butler. The Warriors' resurgence serves as a reminder of how quickly the landscape in the Western Conference can change. The Lakers must learn from their mistakes and avoid complacency if they want to stay ahead of teams like the Warriors, who are hungry for a playoff spot. The pressure on the Lakers is palpable. The team's history, with its championship pedigree, demands more than just a good regular season. Fans expect greatness, and the Lakers will need to live up to those expectations if they want to remain relevant in the playoff conversation. The coming weeks will be pivotal, and it's unclear whether the team has what it takes to rise to the occasion, or whether the weight of the challenges will prove too much to overcome. With so many injuries and challenges, the Lakers are now in a higher-risk situation where every game becomes crucial for determining their playoff future. The team urgently needs to find a way to rise up and play more collectively and efficiently, without solely relying on their stars. LeBron James' absence is a significant blow, but the Lakers need to demonstrate that, even without him, they can still compete with the best teams in the league. The team has the players, has the experience, and has the ability, but lacks the consistency and unity that would make them a true force to be reckoned with. With LeBron James' return expected in the coming weeks, the Lakers have one last opportunity to adjust and strengthen themselves for the remainder of the season. However, until that happens, the team will need to focus on improving its collective performance, finding solutions to its defensive problems, and above all, showing a stronger and more determined mindset if they want to keep their playoff aspirations alive. For Lakers fans, the wait for a recovery is almost unbearable, but hope is still there. And as always, fans can count on Lakers News Fan Report to follow them every step of this journey. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, subscribe to our channel, activate the bell to receive notifications, and stay updated on everything happening with the Lakers. Don't miss the chance to stay up to date with the Latest news, analyses, and discussions about the team we all love.